everybody, welcome to another installment of Conversations in Wire with me, your host. I am James Browning. I work for the Softflex company. We are a jewelry wire manufacturer that's based out of sunny California, Sonoma to be exact. We do have a gallery that is open every Wednesday and Thursday, and we would love to see you stop by. I know the glare is a little bit bad on my glasses today because I'm actually filming in my own kitchen instead of in the office. And the reason that we are doing that today is because I'm going to show you how to use Liver of Sulfur. Now this is probably backwards, but hopefully we'll be able to see it later. Liver of Sulfur is a patina agent that is used to darken, to basically tarnish copper, bare copper. And silver. So as long as the silver or copper is not coated, you can darken up your work and make it look really cool. So the reason I'm doing this at home is because Liver of Sulfur smells really bad. Well, unless you like the smell of hard-boiled eggs or Yellowstone, it's best to do this in a very ventilated area. And I have a pretty large kitchen, but the office at work would smell of eggs for a very long time, so I decided to do this at home. So y'all pardon the street noises, I hope, but let's go ahead and get started talking about Liver of Sulfur. All right. Okay. So, Liver of Sulfur is something that's used really commonly in the jewelry community to patina finish, either silver or copper. It will sort of work on bronze and brass, but not as well. Chemicals are different, so they don't react, and it doesn't react at all to gold. So that is something to remember. You can't really tarnish gold with Liver of Sulfur. So it comes in a bunch of different, well, it comes in either liquid, gel, or kind of a rock form. When I was going to jewelry school, we used the rock form a lot. So it's really easy to set up. This is probably one of the easier patinas to create, I think. It works really, really fast. Liver of Sulfur basically is just potassium sulfide, and that reacts to the chemicals in copper and silver to create that tarnish. It's not an oxidation process because there's no real oxygen, so it's not oxidizing. It's basically tarnishing. So that's why I'm not saying oxidation process. It's really just a patina. The things you want to remember when you're setting up is you get everything ready first. So get all of your supplies, get all of your dishes ready for the patinas. We're going to need a neutralizing solution and the actual patina solution. So safety-wise, it can be a skin irritant, so it's really important to get some gloves for yourself. It does have a very high odor, so if you're sensitive to that, you may want to get yourself like a rebreather. But I think just opening a couple of windows really helps, or doing this outside is also very good. We have a lot of birds in my area, so I figured that would probably be too noisy. So we're doing this in my kitchen. As far as eyewear, if you get it in your eye, you need to wash it immediately. Do not ingest it, of course, because it's poisonous. So if either of those things happen, consult your poison control center, of course, and get help immediately. I am wearing eyeglasses, so the fumes are not going to affect my eyes as much, but if you do feel you need some extra protection, just get some goggles or some eye protector eyeglasses. So I'm going to go ahead and create my patina solution first, just because I like to have that dissolving for a little bit. This is a cup of water. I don't need very much because my pieces are small, but If you need to add more because you've got bigger pieces, feel free to do so. It is approximately 2 to 3, well, I think it was 3 to 4 drops per cup of water. And I find it really doesn't take much at all. So this little thing, I think it was like 12 bucks. It's gonna last so long. All right, now I'm going to stir this in. And you're looking for a lemon yellow color. If it doesn't look yellowy enough, you can always add, I'm just going to add one more drop just because I want it to be a little brighter yellow. Now the cool thing is that this same effect, it just takes a little longer, but the same effect can be done using actual eggs. It's a fresh hard-boiled egg. You take out the yolk and you break it up and you put it into a container, and then you get your copper piece and you hang it or you suspend it in that container and you cover it so that the fumes get really concentrated in there, and the fumes are what actually patinas the copper. So that's a really good color. I hope you can see that really good. All right, and now we need a neutralizing solution because this is going to stop the patina from getting any darker. And this is just water with 2 tablespoons. That's 2 cups of water with 2 tablespoons of baking soda. Baking soda is amazing, you guys. It has so many, that's why I have a giant box, because it's got so many uses. I'm just going to stir this up. Now the other thing we have to prepare, of course, is our jewelry that we want to patina. With that, what we want to do is make sure that all of the old tarnish is off, and then it's really clean. The instructions in the Liver of Sulfur gel indicate that you can make a cleaning solution of ammonia and dish soap. I prefer to just use dish soap and vinegar. I actually did a tarnish remover where I used vinegar and salt, and it's amazing how quickly that cleans up. The other thing you're going to need is some tweezers. These are jeweler's tweezers. We use them for getting our stuff out of pickle and also out of the Liver of Sulfur. They're just copper tongs. The other thing you can use is just another piece of wire, and you just basically use this to suspend your piece in the actual solution. So let's take one of our pieces. We can actually put the whole schmeal in, but I've got a couple of these little rings here. Everybody should recognize the little rose ring. And then I was just playing around with some crazy crazy twists and stuff with this ring. So the reason that we try and patina is to kind of give it more dimension. So we're going to polish up the highlights, and then those recesses will be really deep and dark, and it'll be really interesting to look at. So plop these in, as well as, actually, I'm going to put these on this wire so they'll be easier to take out. Okay, and then I also have this project that is going to be in another video. It's called the Egyptian Coil chain. And this should look really interesting, all patinaed up, because those spirals should look pretty interesting. Now, if you don't end up liking your patina, you can always just throw it into a tarnish remover solution like that vinegar and salt. You may have to leave it there for a while. You can also polish off the patina with we're going to use either steel wool or like a, I don't know what these are called. It's like a dishwashing pad. So steel wool, really fine, or dishwashing pad. That's going to get the tarnish off. All right, so I know I'm talking a lot. but this really only takes seconds. Alright, so I'm going to throw all these things in. Oh, let's talk about stones. Liver of Sulfur is not to be used on any stones that are soft or porous. So things like turquoise, lapis, any sort of pearl or shell, those are big no-nos. You want to not put those in the Liver of Sulfur with your copper wire. So if you're wrapping stones, it's better to leave those as open bezels and then put those stones in after you've finished patina and polishing. So I don't know if you can see, but remember how those were shiny? These are not shiny anymore. These are black. Now, I just dropped them in and left them and just let them do their thing. However, you could basically just dip them and wait for the amount of tarnish that you want to show up on. So these are pretty black, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw them in the solution. How black that is? That is pretty black. And I guess you could leave this black on there. You'd have to put a lacquer or a wax over it. And actually, they have a wax solution called Renaissance Wax that's really good at protecting your patinas after they're done. But take a look at this. This, I had no idea that I had two different wires here. This is obviously a coated wire, a non-tarnish wire, because it did not pick up any of that tarnish at all. But the wrapping wires were bare, so they are all black. So that is a really interesting thing to do. I did not know that, so it's a surprise for me. So I'm going to throw that in there. Alright, so how do we dispose of liver of sulfur? So it is an active agent, so we don't want to throw it down the drain, especially if you have copper pipes, because without that neutralizing agent, it's going to just keep eating away at the copper, and that's probably not a good thing. So you have two options. You can just let it sit, and it will eventually neutralize itself. It kind of gets clear and separates a little. And then you can just dump it down the drain or into your garden, which is what I like to do because I have tomatoes, and tomatoes love sulfur. So I just dump this after I put baking soda in it just to neutralize it. I put that in my tomatoes. So easy peasy. Smelly, but easy. Alright, so let's take a look and see what these things look like. I have a paper towel so I can dry these off. Well, let's just get in there. Okay. So we can see that these are no longer shiny copper. They are totally covered in a layer of patina, causing them to be pretty much black. And the patina is such that it gets into all of those cracks and everything. Since it's liquid and not a paste, it's not going to just sit on top. It's going to soak into everything, which is really good for bringing out those details. I was really hoping for a different effect on this piece because I wanted to see those highlights against the dark background, but that is not going to happen with this piece because I used non-tarnish wire. That's a good learning lesson. See, tarnish is everywhere. Okay, so let's dry these off. Okay, I'm just going to take my piece of steel wool. I'm just going to brush it just right over. Gently, I don't need to put too much pressure on, and that patina is already coming off. And it's giving it the look of basically our antique copper, our antique brass. I think it's antique copper. And all of those little recesses and nooks and crannies, they are keeping their darkness. And once you have gotten the patina off the way you like it, you can take a polishing cloth and polish it up even stronger so that it's nice and shiny. You can also throw it into a tumbler and just tumble off the remaining, get that nice and shiny. I actually have a tumbler I was going to play with. Now, you do really want to seal this if you're going with a specific look. So, I have heard of people using like New Finish car wax. That's a good lacquer, but the Renaissance wax is the industry standard. It may have to be reapplied every once in a while if you wear it a lot, especially on the areas that touch your skin, or get a lot of rub. So there it is. It's a little, it's certainly not bright copper anymore. It's got that darker copper tone now, and all those little recesses are blackened out, so you can really see the wraps. Let's do this ring. Just going right across the top of it. I don't want to take off all the black. And I'm going one direction. Except on the shank, just because I kind of want the shank to be a little bit less black. So it totally adds dimension. Okay. Let's see what happens on this thing. So honestly, this basically just looked like, it looks like how it was before I cleaned it. I just added some natural antiquing to it. You know, I still like it. There's still lots of texture that it brings out. But I really think it would look amazing if the wrapping wires, or if the base wires were also antiqued. So that's that. Alright. Let's take a look at this little rose ring and see what we can do with it. Actually, that makes it look a little bit more rosy. This was not one of my best, but I like the dimension that it adds because now all the high points are polished up. And then you can continue to polish, you can continue to keep shining up and just see what it looks like when everything is as shiny as you want it. I kind of like this. It totally looks antique now, like something straight out of a tomb. This is the Egyptian spiral. So this totally could have been taken right out of King Tut's tomb. And I think once I get a piece done, I might send this through the tumbler and make sure that it gets all nice and work hardened so that those spirals don't actually come out. Because that would be not so fun if that caught on something and pulled all your hard work out. So it's really good to just be mindful of the stuff you're wearing. I heard of it called the sweater test. If it doesn't pass the sweater test, like if you're going to wear it with a sweater and it's going to catch your sweater all the time, you got to work on getting those ends down and making sure there's nothing catching when you're looking. Alright, I really like that. I mean, I like shiny jewelry too, but this is pretty. Look at those little black spirals in it now. Awesome. Alright, cool. So, that is Liver of Sulfur. I hope you guys learned something. And I know that I have fun teaching you guys these things. Liver of Sulfur can be found pretty much anywhere where jewelry supplies are sold. Unfortunately, Softflex does not carry it at this time, but Amazon, Rio Grande, anywhere like that can help get that supplied to you, as well as copper tongs. That's not something we carry, but it is a jewelry supply thing, so Amazon, Rio Grande, wherever you want to get it. So, as usual, if you like my videos, please hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up. You can ask any questions, if you have any, in the comments below, and I will try and get back to you as soon as I possibly can. But until next time, thanks for watching and happy wrapping!